Hi, welcome to Farmer Mary's Field Notes. I'm Farmer Mary, and these are my notes from the week. This week you get to hear about a crispy fried farmer, waxing poetic about growing grass, and about an amorous bull. If you last long enough, there's a recipe at the end. So here we go. There are cycles and rhythms to so many of the things that we do on the farm. In the winters, we hide away like the squirrels and the rabbits. We do the absolute bare minimum of work outside before going back in to wait for the freezing cold to pass us by. We organize our nest. We tinker. We might try a creative project or two, crochet, woodworking, fancy cooking. As spring creeps in and we watch the leaves unfurl, we stretch too, putting our wintered over plans into action and preparing for the growing season ahead. In summer, this is the peak. We shift like sunflowers, basking in the light of the long days and running full tilt to tend to every growing thing on the farm. We spend every bit of energy in our batteries, confident that we'll recharge them the next morning when the sun comes up again. But now, at the end of the summer, I feel a little bit crunchy and scorched, just like the grass does under my feet as I walk through the fields on these days without rain. But the morning air has an edge, these days reminding me that soon the season will turn and the land will rest and my focus will shift. As we tread that meandering line between summer and fall, waiting for a respite from the heat but not wishing for it to be gone too soon, I watch that crunchy, stressed grass and feel my own stress level rise. On a regenerative farm, we watch the grass all year long. It's what our animals eat day in and day out, and we manage this precious resource with a really intense focus. My primary job is making sure that we have enough grass on the entire property for our animals to eat each day, but also that we're building a stockpile on those same pastures at the same time. It's a tricky balance. I want them to eat the best bite of each plant and then move on, leaving the rest of the plant to grow back quickly. This is why I move temporary fences each day, judging on the fly how much the herds have eaten and how much they need and whether they need a larger or smaller space to maintain that delicate balance. If they eat too much of a plant, then the plant itself loses its rootstock and it takes longer to grow back. If they don't eat enough of it, then we've wasted the space. Overgrazing also changes the balance in their GI tract, which limits their weight gain and can negatively impact their immune system. So they have suboptimal health, and my stress continues to go up. So, speaking of suboptimal health, have you looked at your lawn lately? Unless you have a really good sprinkler system, it probably looks as sad and brownish as mine does. Without more rain, our stockpile of grass doesn't grow, and we have less to feed the animals as winter moves on. So we hedge our bets. We're buying hay from a local farmer who matches our practices. They don't spray their fields. They grow the orchard grass that our animals are eating anyway. And so we've been loading up a trailer and bringing loads to stockpile in our barnyard to serve as a winter reserve. Ideally, we wouldn't need it this early in the season, but we made a strategic choice to start feeding hay early to give the pastures a rest and hope that it'll rain and the grass will grow longer and stronger before we send the animals through again. It could be tempting to see this as a failure, but the truth is we're still building our pastures. They're mostly run-out hayfields that need more nutrients. So letting the animals hang out there longer and putting down a bunch of manure and kinetic energy isn't necessarily a bad thing. We stick them in our worst pastures and let them fix it by doing what comes naturally. It takes longer than spreading chemicals or commercial fertilizer, but we do see improvement every single time they go through a field. And there's no cost or no negative impacts other than maybe to our wallets for buying those hay bales that are 4x6 and gigantic. All right, strung you along long enough with my farmer talk to the punchline. Yesterday, we transitioned from regular grass pastures into feeding hay. And not only did I need to move our main herd between pastures, I also needed to sort the animals. We don't do this very often. The ewes needed to move into the new space. The mama cows and one calf needed to go with them, so we have all the girls together, but the bull needed to stay behind. His job is done for the season, and he can go hang out with the guys until it's breeding season again. The problem? All I had was me, maybe a couple of the kids as backup, and a gate to sort them with. Often the way that they walk between pastures is in a predictable pattern. The sheep go first, and then the cows, and then the bull. And so my very sketchy plan was to do just that. but hope to catch the bull last and just shut the gate. That would keep him inside the hard fence, which has high tensile wire and wooden posts instead of just the plastic temporary posts and flexible wire that I use every day to keep him away from his 4 girlfriends. I woke up with a pit in my stomach. I didn't even want to walk out the door. So I cheated, and I did all the easy jobs first. I went and I fed the horse, and I squeezed his nose and kissed him, because at least my horse loves me. And then I went and I talked to the turkeys, because they're always good for a chat. And, all the nice jobs. I loaded up a hay bale. I put it in the spot where the animals were going to move. I set up their divider fence. I laid out the lane they would need to walk between the pastures. And then I casually walked up to where they were hanging out and put my threadbare plan into action. Okay, sheep. Good. The sheep. Step 1, turn off the fence in case I needed to bail over the side. Step 2, open the gate. The sheep came running with the guard dog. Hi, Summer. And they took off down the lane to their new space. This is great. A bonus of moving them so often is that anytime they see an open gate, they know they're literally going to a greener pasture. Cool. So step 3, the cows start to figure it out. Yes. They gradually start heaving themselves up and shuffling over towards me and the gate. I'm like, yes. The lead cow's on the way. The baby's coming. He's hanging back a little bit. And like magic, all 4 cows are headed towards the gate. And the bull has to take a poo. Great. He's distracted. This is perfect. The cows are through the gate. They're moving down the lane and only the baby's hanging back. Clang. Gate closed. I'll figure out the baby afterward. Luckily, the kids roared up on Ez's ATV moments later, and I convinced them to scramble over the fence. They helped herd the baby so he could squeak through the tiny space I opened in the gate. Done. I expected this task to take an hour. More. I had no good backup. I was expecting more drama. So I'm walking down to close the rest of the fence, and I call John to tell him the good news. Like, you'll never believe this. They went exactly in order. The bull was distracted because he had to poop. Merritt, do you know what you call that? Divine intervention? Close. Holy crap. Yeah. So we plan, we prepare, we pray, and sometimes things work out better than we ever hope. Until 10 minutes later when the baby popped through the fence in his new pasture where he wasn't supposed to be. Farm life. Whatever. So probably I should give you a beef recipe now in honor of all the cow references today, but I'm going to give you something green and vibrant instead in the hopes that maybe it'll inspire the grass to grow, and it is actually really good on beef. This is chimichurri sauce. It's one of my favorites. It's bright green, it's piquant, it smells good, it tastes good, and it brightens everything. Grill up a steak, make some white or brown rice, put a veggie on the side, some broccoli. This will tie together your meal. Just make sure you share because it's got garlic, and when one eats garlic, all must eat garlic. Enjoy it. Have a great week. Pray for rain.